Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to thank the universe. It was because of the universe we're all here today. I want to thank our ancestors, because our ancestors were able to walk the paths we're walking today. And I'd like to thank everybody here for being here. And I'd like to thank the people that brought Catalyst Creative together, because for their brain power, none of us would have ever met. So may we have a moment of silence and have a moment of thanks for everything around us. Okay, with that said, I'll move on to my talk. As I'm Charles Babb, I own a company called Fairchild Consortium. It is truly a consortium. It is a bunch of interactive entertainment developers, and I guess mostly all disciplines. We have writers, we have just comic book writers, comic book artists, normal artists, and I find everybody work, and everybody has a creative idea that they want to create something digital. So you're in the gaming industry, we all work 40 to 60 hours a week, and we always want to make our own product. So I created Fairchild. My talk is called Flavor, Adding the Right Ingredients to Your Tech Project. The problem we have is, I know for video games, is that we think we always put the right people together to get the right product, but that's not true. A montage about me. I'm from a little red state known as Kentucky. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. If anybody's familiar with it, it is one of the few states with its own national anthem, my old Kentucky home. I grew up in Lexington, and my family was the first black family in the neighborhood. And growing up, I had the most racist family to my right and the most loving white family to my left. So I had the best of both worlds, if you want to say that. Kentucky, I grew up with the older brother, 6 years older, and he was the tech geek that didn't do well in school. School did not fit him at all. But when we were younger, he got a computer, and it changed my life and his life. I went to Morehouse College. And if anybody's familiar with Morehouse College, it's in Atlanta, Georgia, a very unique school. It's predominantly African American, like 93%. The other is African, European, but most people of African descent. There's a couple Asian students and very few white students. Then I moved to Japan. And in Japan, I was assistant English teacher in the JET program. Then I became the coordinator of international relations. From there, I went to the East-West Center in Honolulu, Hawaii. And that was my start into film. At the East-West Center, I have a degree in the Asia-Pacific Leadership Program. And the reason I went there is because I was avoiding law school, and it was Hawaii, and it was free. So I have a graduate certificate in Asia-Pacific Literacy and regional studies, particularly Japan. And from there, I moved to LA. When I was in Hawaii, I was involved with actual programs like the Hawaii International Film Festival, and I worked with Lost, doing a pre-production for Lost, and I worked on bringing ER in Africa to Hawaii. That's where they did all the filming when they were in the Congo. And so I moved to LA, and I had a job at Tokyo Pop. Tokyo Pop is a manga company. It's a publishing company where there's Japanese comic books, and they were all the rage in the late 90s and the early 2000s. And the Tokyo Pop was formed by a guy named Stu Levy, and we were bringing over manga from Japan. I was the brand manager, marketing manager over original English manga. So I worked with a lot of comic book creators and editors and writers that were emulating the Japanese style of comic books. From there, I'm going to the Florida Interactive Entertainment Academy, and that is a video game school in Orlando. It's part of University of Central Florida. EA is there, and EA wanted more talent, so they created FIA. You can't have FIA without EA in it. And there, I learned how to be a video game designer and producer. It's a 1.5-year long program, and it's all application-based. The moment you get there, you basically start working on your own projects. From there, I ended up going to Guerrilla Games. That's in Tampa, and that's where I did my internship from FIA. FIA, the last 3 months in a semester, you have to get an internship or work on a capstone. I actually got a job at Guerrilla Games. It's a girl game company. And I worked on The Click. I worked on games like Hannah Montana, and I worked on All-Star Cheer Squad for the Wii. It's an amazing game, by the way. I ended up leaving Guerrilla. They ended up losing a couple of projects, so we lost half the team, and I was quite expensive, so they had to let me go. But fortunately, I was able to go back to Los Angeles and work on Guitar Hero. So I worked at Neversoft on Guitar Hero. I managed the Guitar Hero store. I was the producer, so we would outsource all the DLC, all the songs you play. And there's a lot that goes into it, and I was the guy that managed that and helped pick songs for the store. And I didn't have a rock background, so when I got there, I got schooled by all these guys that were musicians, and they loved the rock music. I fell in love with heavy metal then, too. I had no idea what it really was until I met guys that made metal. And I was like, that's amazing. And prog rock, I love prog rock. From there, I ended up going to PlayStation down in San Diego. And when I was at PlayStation, I was in the visual art service group, and I was a cinematic producer. And video games have a thing called 3D art, and that's the world. The screen's usually blank. We make 3D art. I managed the teams down there that made 3D art for all of PlayStation's games. Most studios don't have the manpower internally to build all the art assets they need, so they would outsource it to us. And then there was a service that PlayStation offered their first and second parties. So that's why you join PlayStation. You say, we'll make an exclusive game for you because you have all these added services to help us make more assets without revenue sharing with other employees. From there, I ended up going to Spark Unlimited, and there I met one of my idols, and his name is Keiji Inafune. And if anybody's familiar with him, he made Mega Man. He's the guy that was behind Mega Man. And then I ended up working with Hayashi, and that was the guy that created Ninja Gaiden. And we ended up then I worked with Toby Gard. So there's 3 creative producers, and Toby Gard made Tomb Raider. And I was in one studio, and I was one of the producers that had to deal with all 3 of those guys. And it was a project called Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z, and it was ninjas versus zombies. You played a ninja, and you went around killing zombies. Completely awesome game. It's bloody, and it's very, very hard, like a Ninja Gaiden game. Ninja Gaiden games make people frustrated and want to throw controllers at your screen. And everybody that's played Ninja Gaiden understands that. Why is all that important? Because all that really made me. I'm a very unique person in my own community, in the African American community. I was the person that always never had a group and never felt like I belonged in a group. So I was always searching for my own community. From there, I realized I keep running into problems, and I think they should all be businesses. And so I became a serial entrepreneur. I think everywhere I've been, I started a business, officially and unofficially, and never thought about the revenue model. Thank you, Katie, for reminding me about that. Jet Setter Fresh. This is my passion project, my money pit, and it is an international trendsetter social trust. I had the privilege of talking on a bunch of panels, and I ended up moderating so-called trendsetters. And these are guys that make graphic design t-shirts like Crooks and Castles, Ben Hundreds to Hundreds. I also dealt with other people like Jeff Staples. And I would sit down and ask them, oh, so you made these Nikes and they're completely eco-friendly. I would say why and how, and have those discussions. And so I got brought on by a marketing research agency to actually take this group of guys, bad guys, and sit them in front of advertisements and tell the people that made the ads, the ad companies, and the people that made them for why they suck. As trendsetters, this is why we don't like the Coca-Cola ad. This is why we don't like the Pepsi ad. From there, I treated Fairchild Consortium, and I spoke about Fairchild. Fairchild is my independent interactive entertainment studio. Again, everybody has an idea, and I'm the guy that's a consultant that sit down with you with your app and say, let's see if there's something really there. And I will consult with anybody about it. And if they need to build a team around it, I will build that team for them. And so you'll get your education, and I'll consult with you about how to make an interactive product. And the last one is Harv's Interactive. Harv's Interactive is an interactive entertainment venture capital firm. I was consulting under Fairchild with Harv's Investment Group, and they wanted tech projects, and our contract was coming to a close, and the owner of Harv's Investment Group actually brought me on as a partner, me and my main partner in Fairchild. He didn't want to lose us. We were ready to move on and work on our projects, and he was like, wait, what if I make you a partner, and all you have to do is actually evaluate tech products we should invest in. So if you have any tech products, you want to pitch them, you can pitch them towards me, and we can see if we can fund them or not. So I'm in gaming, and according to a lot of game manufacturers, there's issues with gaming. They say that there's no need for black characters or Asian characters or Hispanic characters because they don't sell well. Well, according to the stats, players 8 to 18 are usually African American, 30 minutes more. And you can't tell me black boys and girls don't want to see black characters on the screen. We definitely want to see that. In 18 to 49, my generation, Generation X and older, my brother, we play more than anybody else in video games. And a lot of that deals with our community. It's the one place that we can always get success and nobody's judging us for our color, is when we're in front of the screen. The only time they ever judge us if they're online and they recognize from our voice or what we say that we're black. And that's when racism can come in. So 18 to 49 is predominantly African American, and 8 to 18 is predominantly African American. So you hear they don't want the marketing departments come in like, well, black video game characters don't sell, so Nathan Drake has to be white. Or better yet, Cole has to be white. And it's like, why are all the characters olive-skinned white guys with brown hair and brown eyes? It's kind of boring. It's very vanilla, to say the least. And what does it feel like as a black developer in video games or tech? It feels like this. You'll walk in a room and you'll be the only person of color. You're the only one that anybody sees. And then some people don't want to interact with you, and you have to be friendly. Luckily, I'm charming and I smile a lot, so people talk to me, and I'm open about anything. But I've been in other development houses where people don't speak, and if you see a black person in a development house, you always get the nod. What's up? It's like rare. We always do it. We always do it. We may not shake hands early. We don't even thinking that we're in cahoots together, but we'll give each other the nod. We'll give each other the nod. The question is, why is it this way? There's a couple of angles why it's this. This is a very complex net. And if you look at the stats, Hispanics are the red, blacks are the lighter pink, non-Hispanic whites are the darker pink, and the really dark red is Asians. And this is what internet looks like in our households. Minorities don't have personal computers. Schools in minority areas don't incorporate software and hardware development. Minority communities are ignorant about the advantages of encouraging interactive development. Be a basketball player, be a rapper, be a poet, be a doctor, be a lawyer. Nobody says be an engineer that makes software or hardware. Civil engineer is okay, but not a software or hardware developer. And there's a lack of mentoring. The blacks that are in this field, we're 3%, we never go back. Or we don't have time. We're always in somebody's studio, and after 40 hours, you never go back. And the pool of interest is low. So Darwin and technology. This is the normal, big funnel, awareness, interest, desire, action, and retention. And what happens is, and talking to minority communities, it looks like this. It's smaller. So the pool's a lot smaller. We represent 13% of the population, but we're only 3% in tech. The force multiplier principle, quotas, this is why I hate quotas. So you need to hire a black person, so you hire a black stallion, you look at him, interview him, but you wait, because you only have to hire 3. So you look for the black unicorn. And you wait a little longer, so that's your tech artist that does level design. So you look for the black Pegasus unicorn, and that's the guy that does everything on their own. They make their own game. And falling from high expectations. This is what they really want. They want the baddest Jedi ever and the coolest dude that was ever in Star Wars. And all we really want to be is the guy that acts like a video game character, Dark Link, that you have to dig deep. We're all nerds, and that's what we really are. We're not Mace Windu, nor are we Lando Calrissian in Star Wars. And feeling red-shirted. So we get on the team, and we feel like this. We're going to be the red shirt that's going to be killed off sooner than later. And see the black guy in the back and the woman, and we feel as though we're the ones that are going to be red-shirted and taken off the team. So I tell everybody of color and every minority, speak up in meetings and let them know that you can be Captain Kirk and not the person in the red shirt. And why ingredients improve the flavor? Because usually if you have one group of people, it's like a cereal, milk and some wheat. And what you really want to make is gumbo, where you just throw everything in the pot and you sit there and stir it. No matter what you put in, it's going to taste good. You can have it hot or cold. You can have it in the morning, or you can have it late at night. You can have it when you're hungover. And gumbo is the cure-all because it's comfort food. And if you're open to hiring people of different groups, you don't have to say, what is the main character going to look like? Like, well, we can't do a black guy because none of us are black, and all we know are the stereotypes. You can say, let's ask our black friends, or let's ask the black people in the development team to come in and actually talk to us about what it's like being black. Part of being black isn't our skin color, it's how people react to us. And those are subtle nuances people don't understand and get. And you can get that, and it makes your character more alive. You don't have to go with the black bald coach that always tells you what to do, the black shield, the big black guy that protects you, and he's really rowdy like Cole in Gears of War. There's different types of black characters that just fit the stereotype. And it happens with Hispanics, and the worst of all are Asian women. because they always make them seductress or some type of fox character that's trying to get one over on the male character in the game. And so when you have a mixed team, male, female, different sexual orientations, different genders, and even sexual preferences, you can get a very diverse and wealthy game. And the studio that gets it right is Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog with The Last of Us makes a very in-depth game. It covers a black brother and his little brother's relationship, a couple of gay couples in the game, and a father-daughter and a surrogate father-daughter relationship, all in one game. And the game does it so well, and everybody's emotionally attached. And so when you think about making your game all vanilla, you can think about, I can make gumbo, and I can throw anything into a bowl and make it come out well. And that is the basis of my talk. And here's everything about my information. Let me go back one more. I went too fast. There it is. And that's how you can reach me. It doesn't want to skip it. I don't know what's going on there. It just wants to skip it.